Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. This is our WWE Clash in Paris review. The last major WWE premium live event for now, anyways, on the Peacock. It was kind of a goodbye, but like the NXT shows and Saturday night's main events are going to remain there.
Yeah, live on Peacock.
It lives on Peacock, yeah.
But, the question was, was this particular show a little bit of a lame duck premium live event since they're loading up WrestlePalooza for the first show on ESPN? Or did this show manage to stand on its own as an entertaining and engaging premium live event over the course of its 4-hour runtime?
Is it possible for it to be both things? I think in one respect, Clash in Paris was a bit of a lame duck in terms of like major story beats. Like when they started with the Netflix era, if you will. The first Netflix show, I think they intended it to be, hey, we got some big story things happening, even though if I recall correctly, there was the Punk Seth stuff. I guess they did.
Well, then Roman and versus Solo for the Ula Follow was.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they did
premiere.
some stuff.
They loaded it up. Yeah.
And so I expect that to be WrestlePalooza. Them to initiate some pretty heavy story beats there, or at least have some meaty stuff. And there wasn't necessarily this, although kind of depending on how the follow up goes. Becky Lynch helping Seth Rollins and her saying this is the vision. If she joins the Vision as an actual member of the group being managed by Paul Heyman, being involved in the backstage stuff, if they do, I know our chat was, the live stream chat was rife with people saying, I wonder if this can bring back AJ Lee. Mm-hmm. If that, you could consider that if it just goes back to sort of the status quo and like, he's her husband, so of course she's going to help him out. And then it goes back to the way it was before, then this is sort of a one and done. But in terms of, major story beats beyond that remains to be seen, I guess. But I thought that the last couple matches of the pay-per-view, once the Shamus Rusev match about halfway into it took off, I think from then on the pay-per-view was actually a lot of fun. That crowd was crazy good.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. They were into pretty much everything. And the second half of the show was better, but as mentioned, it wasn't a show that was really steeped in a lot of story development. Becky possibly joining the Vision aside.
Also it seems like they might be writing Roman. I thought, the first entire hour probably could have been condensed to like 35 minutes because it was the entirety of Roman, his match with Bronson Reed, and then maybe aftermath being written off for the near future because Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed then took Roman Reigns out of the equation. They had to stretcher him out. Mm-hmm. And that usually means somebody's being written off for a spell to go, maybe in Roman's case, to film a movie, but also Roman simply isn't around much anymore. That's just sort of his thing.
Yeah.
And so I did think that whole angle, it was long, but I think it also did that final visual of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker being told by Adam Pearce screaming at them, saying, you're going to be at it. If you show up during the main event, you're going to be suspended without pay indefinitely. I thought that whole thing brought an amount of danger to the Vision, to those people in the Vision, that maybe it was lacking before. So even that, I think, was effective, if a bit indulgent in length.
Yeah, indulgent in length, yeah. The show as a whole, it felt like, could have used with a bit of editing in terms of length. It felt like a 3-hour show. They kind of extended to 4 hours in a lot of respect. The main event was long for the sake of being long. The length I didn't feel like added a much to the actual match. The Donnybrook match, which could have been a really fun 12-minute sprint, was almost twice as long. It just felt like, hey, last Peacock show, we'll give them an extra stuffed premium live event as our goodbye.
That could be. I think, honestly, the tag title match, I think they probably could have just kept this a 5-match card, brought the first hour down to
minutes.
35 minutes. And then you'd have like a normal length premium live event. It was a question that I had, I don't know, last week or so. I think I don't know. I think during the SmackDown, whenever they announced that they were going to do the match here at Clash in Paris, the tag match, and it was like, oh, it's a 6-match card now. My question to you was, is it possible that, given that WWE now has to acknowledge, well, we're not just asking people to replace the $12 to $13 Peacock with a $30 ESPN. They're keeping Saturday night's main events, which sometimes can have big angles. It's been a while, but they have blow-off matches, and the NXT shows. They're asking you to add the $30.
Yeah.
Are those premium live events now going to be 4-hour deals as opposed to the 3.5 deals that we've been used to?
I suppose it's possible if WWE wants to adopt an approach similar to one Tony Khan and give their users, their customers, added value for their dollar. Maybe, but who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd be curious to look back at the previous, Clash shows, international shows specifically, if those tend to run a little longer than the B-level pay-per-views here in the States. I just don't recall.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a little bit since we've had the good, concise 2-hour, 45-minute WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think they've been stretching a little longer these days.
They have.
Just a little bit longer than that.
Triple H needs a larger tapestry with which to weave his narratives.
I mean, the TKO era is a little bit more about indulgence these days. So I don't know. An interesting way of going about it with that whole first hour being the match. And how long do you have the match? Like, how long was that actual first match?
The first match, so there was, of the 6 matches, this is according to Wikipedia, of the 6 matches, 4 were 20 minutes or longer.
That was 22 minutes.
Yeah. And the Donnybrook was over 20. Cena and Logan was 26 and change, and then the main event was 24 and a half minutes.
Yeah. That opener specifically, though, 22 minutes and 5 seconds of match time. And so what would that be? 30
Well, you had the opening video package. You had the video package. Sorry, you had Arrivals. They did Arrivals at the head of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, they did Arrivals.
Like they do on TV. They had, all the opening video packages. They had the entrances, and Roman's is long.
Yeah.
You had the 22-minute match. You had Roman celebrating in the ring for a little bit before Braun even comes down there. And then you have that whole segment. And it went, 50, 55 minutes.
It was a long time.
From the beginning of the show till the aftermath of the Roman match ended, it was nearing an hour.
Yeah.
It was long.
Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting choice. In any event, Roman Reigns seems like he's been written off for a while. Do you suspect? Because it seems kind of obvious that when he comes back, they're going to do Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns. The way they wrote him off, does that say to you, WrestlePalooza is the match? That's only 20 days away. Or does it say it's going to be further down the road?
It would. I would imagine
Jewel
it would
Perth,
be.
For example, is the next one.
It would depend entirely on his schedule for Street Fighter, how many days he is scheduled to shoot for that movie. If he's only going to need to be on set for 10 days, let's say, entirely possible he does the WrestlePalooza match, especially if they really want to load that card up. Yeah, now, if he's committed for 3 weeks or something like that, that would take WrestlePalooza out of the realm of possibility, and then you're looking at Crown Jewel. Yeah,
I do feel like you don't want to sacrifice how much you can load up Perth just for WrestlePalooza, because WrestlePalooza is already going to have a bunch of big matches on it. Where you got Cody and Drew, you got Brock and Cena, and so I do think that you got 3 weeks later you got Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give that something.
Yeah.
So I feel like we'll probably see Roman by Crown Jewel. It's entirely possible they wait on him until War Games, though. Because it's Roman. He just doesn't wrestle that much anymore.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. They can do the Vision versus Punk, Roman. I guess Jay. Maybe LA Knight. If AJ comes back, will they do War Games with AJ in there opposite Becky Lynch? I don't know.
Mixed tag War Games, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do the Vision. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that would make sense for War Games, but so yeah, Roman Reigns beat Bronson Reed. Moving forward, if they do Braun Breaker, how do you like Braun Breaker's odds against Roman Reigns?
I feel like, at least initially, it would probably make sense if... Well, here's the thing. If I didn't know Braun Breaker's history, I'd say Braun wins the first one. Somewhere down the line, Roman gets his win back. And we haven't seen this with Braun a lot recently, but historically with Braun, sometimes when he's in a major position against a high-profile opponent, title opportunity, maybe, comes up short, wins the second match. This could be another one of those situations. Or if they're really ready to strap the rocket onto Braun, he just beats Roman their one match, and that's it.
Given that Punk and Seth are a thing right now, I'm trying to figure out, because we've had some pushback in our comments a little bit, people thinking that they can't extend Seth versus Punk till WrestleMania. I disagree with that. I think you can have their paths deviate for now, but then come back together at WrestleMania. They do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're laying some measure of groundwork for Punk to potentially feud with LA Knight.
Yeah. At the same time... Yeah. At the same time, Roman Reigns is firmly on the road also, potentially, to going up against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania because he's feuding with his henchman right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it possible that for the first time ever, we're going to get Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns?
A triple threat match, you say?
Triple threat match. Maybe at the Night 2 WrestleMania spot. Oh, that'd be different, I guess. I don't know.
Be different. It would be different because it's on another night.
It is like all those paths are seemingly on the same, they're all sort of connecting as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what the deal is. If you were a betting man, what would you put your money on? Reigns versus Rollins at WrestleMania or Rollins versus Punk at WrestleMania?
It would be Rollins versus Punk because I feel like that's the A story right now. And I just don't, if they're going to have Punk finally beat Rollins to win that title, I mean, I guess they could do it at the Rumble or something, and then who would Punk face then at Mania? Roman? I don't know. It just feels like, based on history, that this is the type of story they're building up to culminate at WrestleMania. Because I don't see anything else, especially, for the World Heavyweight title, save for Seth and Roman, that could. So they're going to do one, I would guess, before Mania, maybe at the Rumble, the one-on-one match, the other at WrestleMania.
The thing about Seth and Roman is that their history is so deep that you don't really need... I mean, honestly, like, Punk gets that title off Rollins, and then you can kind of elevate Rollins versus Reigns as like an above-title grudge, maybe even a career match.
You could, and this. I know Roman's beat Seth before. It feels like Roman needs to beat Seth the next time out to kind of start exercising those demons of the Shield betrayal and all that stuff. It feels like that needs to happen for that story to kind of come full circle.
That could be a big time. You don't need the title because there's so much history between those two guys.
So you're saying Punk versus LA Knight for the title at WrestleMania?
No. I think you extend everything out. I think Punk versus Rollins at WrestleMania, where Punk gets a title off him. And then the next WrestleMania, you do Rollins versus Roman because Roman's not around that often.
Yeah, and that could be his last Mania potentially.
I mean, that it's possible. He said he's only got a year or two left, that he wants to be doing this. So I do, especially with the way Triple H can book things at a snail's pace. Yeah, I think it's entirely possible that that's the situation. But
Could be.
But I don't know. The next couple months will definitely give us more info on that. Before we continue with our match by match breakdown, Larson, I believe congratulations are in order.
What'd I do?
You are now a 2-time predictions champion. You know, regardless, I know a lot of people are using the word collusion.
Oh my! See, but it's you that's perpetuating this narrative that there is collusion between myself and our Google Forms wizard, Cody Miles, who does a great job putting these Google Forms together for us that allows us to do predictions in the first place like we do them.
Noticeably absent this time, prop bets, but regardless of the way you got there, congratulations are in order. And yes, we will be having another coronation ceremony right here in my office.
Did you ever get a hat for this one?
So no, I was going to, see, the thing is, like, it's all dependent on like the shirt size, for me to get the 2 shirts and that, cause I order them all together.
Yeah.
So knowing your shirt size, I will go ahead and order those ASAP. And so the coronation will probably take place sometime in mid-September.
There we go.
But you are the predictions champion. So congratulations on that, and to Cody Miles as well, I guess, for whatever he got out of this. But if you guys want to be the person to dethrone the guy who dethroned the guy who cashed in on the guy who dethroned Steve here for the next predictions championship,
in your mind, all roads lead to you as champion.
Do you expect anything else from me?
No, this is all completely expected.
Good.
Doesn't mean it's any less frustrating, but
I'm sure
completely
it is.
expected.
I'm sure it is. No, man, congratulations. I mean, we had 4 events. Do we have 4 events this time, or 3
I
events?
think so. Well, it's 2-day SummerSlam, so.
Yeah, 2-day SummerSlam, and then the AEW thing, and then this. So congratulations on that. No collusion. No collusion. No collusion. It's a big hoax, this collusion. But so congratulations, Larson. He's a new predictions champion. You got to get that picture to me, whatever picture you want to use.
I got to think about that.
You got to, you got time to think about that. But that does not stop us from continuing on. Who will dethrone Larson in the September Predictions Challenge, or will he repeat? Find out and participate. All you got to do is click join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up for the Predictions Challenge. Also, this coming week, very exciting, our second new bonus episode of the new bonus episode era. This time, you guys are not going to want to miss this. And this is only for patrons and channel members. The Hilton Shoot interview is happening. Confirmation from him. We're recording it this week.
I don't even know what's going to happen. I have no idea. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I'm going to put out the thread of questions for people to ask Hilton. All the burning questions that you have for Hilton will be answered by him in the Hilton Shoot interview. This is going to be huge. So if you want in on that, if you want to watch that along with the last bonus episode we did last month and all the bonus episodes we've done in the past. Last year we had a terrific run of Friendo cast where we talked about every subject under the sun that isn't about wrestling. And we got a bunch of those. Those are a lot of good ones as well. So if you want to check all that out and get in on our question threads for the weekly recap episodes, you can do that as well. It's all at patreon.com/Steven Larson. Click on the Friendo Club setup. It's $5 a month, or click join right here, youtube.com/Steven Larson. That's also $5 a month. It goes a long way towards helping support going in Raw as well. So be sure to check that stuff out. Also at friendoshop.com, the latest jersey is out and available. We've already had some Friendos buy this one. It's the Wolfpack variant of the Friendo Club jersey right there. Available at friendoshop.com. Click on, you can use the promo code Friendo2024 to get your latest jersey.
Right now.
It's
available right now. All right, let's get after it. So the show kicked off with Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns. So this arena they had this show in is not the typical arena size we're used to here in the United States, where these arenas are for basketball or hockey games. Maybe you're pushing 20,000 for capacity. Apparently this is a rugby arena, or enclosed stadium
venue. Yeah.
So I think I read that the capacity for the building is 40,000. They had a little bit over 30 for the show.
Yeah.
But the Tron setup was huge. They had a giant Eiffel Tower as part of the Tron setup.
Yeah.
It was a huge stage.
It was a very impressive looking venue. Say what you will about WWE, but the brand is strong right now. I guess you could consider this particular show on fire or indicative of WWE being on fire. Yeah, man, 30,000 plus. That seemed like a shoot. It's funny because on the WrestleTix Twitter account, it said it was like 30,648 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the number that they announced was a little bit like 300 less than that.
It was 30,343, I think.
343, yeah.
I think that's what it was.
And so that was it was interesting because usually they, jump it up by 1,000 or so.
Yeah. So maybe that was, instead of tickets sold, turnstile number. I don't know.
Who knows? In any event, a really, and the crowd was absolutely phenomenal. I think it was probably best seen during the John Cena Logan Paul match. That match was, just really, really spectacular. But we'll get to that here in a second. Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns.
This match was fun. It was just really long. It was really long. It was a good showing for Bronson Reed, which is great because he needed that in defeat. He needed to look like, someone that could stand toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns, and that was accomplished here, save for him getting the win. Down towards the finish, Roman calls for a spear, but then Reed hits him with like a little short drop kick. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
Sends him out of the ring with a lariat, hits a suicide dive. Reed puts Roman back in the ring, looks for a tsunami. Roman moves, gets up, looks for a spear, but then Bronson hits him with the powerbomb out of nowhere. Roman kicks out. Bronson pulls Roman to the corner, looking for a tsunami, but instead Reigns gets up. He goes up, hits a superplex. Looks for a superplex, sorry. Bronson headbutts him. Roman hits him with a Superman punch while Bronson's still on the top rope. Roman hits the avalanche Samoan drop, follows with the spear to get the win. Single spear.
The pop-up powerbomb bit was great because Roman tried for that spear and he just bounced off of Reed.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really strong-looking moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you figure Roman was going to win this regardless. It seems like, until I see otherwise, I feel like they're taking Bronson Reed with let's see what the reactions are and how he performs standpoint, as opposed to Braun Breaker, where it's like he's going to be WrestleMania main event guy 5 to 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. And so with Bronson Reed, he did a terrific job in this match. It was paced like a bloodline match, slower, more methodical, if you will. But I thought Reed performed absolutely wonderfully. So afterwards, Bronson Reed is selling that finish like he got hit by a bus.
Yeah.
So Heyman gets in, and he's checking on him. Roman gets back in the ring. He starts stalking Heyman from behind. Heyman turns around, is like, oh, no. And Heyman's wearing the Shula Fala. He's like, I love you, my tribal chief. I acknowledge. He tries to put his ones up. Roman's like, give me the shoes. So Heyman takes them off and very slowly, gives them to him. And Heyman grabs Heyman, puts him in a guillotine choke. Afterwards, Braun appears out of nowhere. After Roman gets the shoes, he cuts them all loose and he starts signing them and throwing them to fans. Braun Breaker shows up, gets a huge spear through the announce table. Looks like Braun might have he looked like he was selling like that kind of hurt him, like for realsies.
Yeah.
So Breaker goes back up, comes back down, kills Reign with another spear, one of those like really great, super fast ones. And then just all sort of hell breaks loose. Like they get a stretcher out. Bronson Reed hits a tsunami. Then the security comes down. They get a stretcher out. Reed runs back down with Breaker, hits another tsunami. Jay finally shows up, super kicks Reed and Breaker. Breaker goes back in, goes after Jay, attacks Reed, hits a spear from Braun, or we get a spear from Braun. Reed comes back around, hits a third tsunami, and finally they leave. Mm-hmm. And then later on, we get some more backstage. But before that, we saw Jelly Roll in the audience. And he's there with his best friend, Post Malone, next to him, who they kept on cutting to during the entire Premium Live event, which I was fine with because those guys looked like they were having a terrific time.
They were having a great time. At one point, Post Malone had a beer in a cup and a beer in a bottle.
Yeah, man, double fisting, but with a cup and a bottle. That was great. So after all that, we're backstage. Pierce is screaming. His face is red, screaming so much at Breaker and Reed. And he's like, I'm injecting you both, and even if I smell you in the building, you're suspended indefinitely without pay. You understand? And then Braun talks some shit. Apparently, according to these notes by Chris Garrick, says fuck as well. But I thought that even backstage, the intensity specifically with which Bronson Reed was displaying, like really getting in Pierce's face, that is how they should be behaving, like absolute madmen. And Breaker was like a little bit even on the he was a little bit on the subdued side, and Reed was the one who was really reading the riot act to Adam Pearce.
Yeah,
I thought it made them look like $1 million.
It did. It was a good showing for both of them, and elevated them as to be a bit more dangerous. Even taking that L, Bronson gets his heat back. He's the one that laid out Roman with the 3 tsunamis. He's the one that wrote him off, if that's what they're doing with Roman. So, yeah, even in defeat, it's a good showing for Bronson Reed. Next,
before we move on, they really need to give Bronson Reed some quality wins against people. Yes. Let me ask this really quick. Do you think, would it be a wise move for that group to get into the tag division and get some gold? Do you think,
especially if Becky is going to be a full-time member of the Vision, then they all need to get titles. They ain't doing much with the tag titles on Raw.
No.
Put them on Braun and Bronson.
Division. Yeah.
Put them on Braun and Bronson.
I don't disagree with that. I think that'd be a smart move.
Speaking of tag titles, next we had the SmackDown tag title match. Street Profits, who were decked out in Borderlands 4 gear.
Yeah, the gear actually looked pretty great. I'm not sometime, with the Viking Raiders at WrestleMania, they had to wear Clash of Clans, I think it was. Or was that Drew?
Drew had Doom-inspired stuff.
Okay, yeah. That looked goofy, and the Viking Raiders or whatever they're called, they look goofy as hell. War Raiders. They look goofy as hell. But, Montez Ford actually looked like a Borderlands guy. He actually legitimately looked like he was in the game. But, the production on those masks was outstanding. And I'm like,
that's what really pushed it over the edge from being kind of potentially corny to actually pretty well done, because they had the lights, in the mask and stuff.
More people need cool shit like that. Not even with ad integrations. Just have whoever made those masks come up with some cool ass masks like that.
Exactly. So Street Profits challenging the Wyatt Six for those tag titles, and it was a bit confusing to start because, of course, on SmackDown, Bo Dallas went up to them and said, after you lose to us, are you still going to be brothers? The brothers you claim to be. And apparently that was enough to, I guess, I don't know, it was kind of brought up and quickly not really mentioned again. Some measure of beef between Montez and Dawkins, where it seemed like Montez was about to start the match, and then Dawkins put his hand out and said, no, I got this. There was a couple instances early in the match where that was referenced again, but maybe at the most halfway through, completely dropped.
Yeah, it was like halfway through the match, and I was like, wait, they haven't really referenced being not on the same page much. I thought this was going to be one of several things. I thought the most obvious thing was, it's a ruse. They're faking being off the same page, and so they're going to get, all of a sudden towards the finish. No, really, we're just fucking with you. We're on the same page, and we win the titles. But instead, they just sort of dropped it, and then Uncle Howdy, while the ref was distracted, hit. So Ford takes the leaping dive over the post onto Rowan and Loomis, because Loomis Rowan had sort of distracted Dawkins. So Loomis came in on the outside, gave him a lariat over the barricade. So Ford then hits the leaping dive over Rowan and Loomis. Nikki then grabs the leg of Montez Ford. And Uncle Howdy hits him with a Sister Abigail as the ref was distracted. Loomis tags Gacy in. They hit the superplex powerbomb to get that win and retain the title. According to Chris Garrick, they called it the Plague.
All right.
And so yeah, the Wyatt Six. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, is this going to be a thread they pick up on SmackDown where the Profits are like, maybe these guys are right. We're not on the same page. Somebody turns. They're not going to break up the Street Profits, are they?
Doesn't seem like it, because at first it seemed like it made more sense that this was kind of some mind games on their part to lower the guard of the Wyatts, but the Wyatts didn't really react to whatever beef was going on with Ford and Dawkins, and apart from Bo Dallas mentioning what he did on SmackDown, there had been no real hints of late that there's any sort of issues between Ford and Dawkins. So for it to just kind of come up now, seemingly, I won't say out of nowhere entirely, because Bo referenced it, but he referenced it in the capacity of after you lose.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so there wasn't like any sort of, if it was framed as apprehension, like rather than starting that way, say the Profits hit something, they think, oh, this should win the match for us. It doesn't. And then they're like, well, come on now. Then maybe they start getting on each other a little bit. Yeah. Because then they feel the pressure. But it's like bell rings, they feel the pressure immediately. It didn't quite add up.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how they play this out on SmackDown, but it was mildly confusing here in this match.
It was. It seemed to come a bit out of nowhere. Next, Women's Intercontinental title match, Becky Lynch defending against Nikki Bella. I think I had most confidence in Becky winning this match.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's how it played out.
Yeah. Becky really did her damnedest here to bring this match to be something. Not the chemistry wasn't really there between these two. But Becky Lynch, boy, she tried her damnedest to get something out of it. She ended up getting the win here.
With that kind of rolling backslide deal.
The Lynch pin.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's what Wade Barrett says she's calling it. The Lynch pin. We got several new finishing names here, I guess.
We did.
But yeah, so she did that the sneaky backslide out of nowhere, according to Chris Garrix here, is what he calls it. So yeah. So I like this here. There's a note from Garrick says, we see the international response to Roman going to play Akuma in Street Fighter. I mean, get written off by Reed and Breaker. So maybe a scoop there from Chris Garrix, our notes taker.
Could be.
That this is indeed for him to go shoot that movie. Next up for Becky Lynch. Assuming AJ Lee doesn't come back, because CM Punk has said a million times she has no desire to come back to wrestling.
Yeah.
I know wrestlers lie, but I don't know. That's when I'll believe it when I see it. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen.
Same. I guess then the question is, I mean, this seems laid out for a mixed tag match.
Sure.
Seth and Becky against Punk. And if not AJ, I guess the question is who? Like, it doesn't really seem like what they're doing with Bayley right now necessarily fits.
There's no point for Lyra because she can't challenge for that title again.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think. I mean, he had some fun stuff with Roxanne, but Roxanne's firmly a bad guy, and that doesn't make any sense
either.
Doesn't
make any sense, no.
I'm trying to think. Is there anybody obvious that we're missing here? I mean, it's not like she... It's not like she cheated to win. It's not like Nikki has like oh, you cheated to get me. I would have won if it wasn't for your.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was all sorts of stuff going on the outside, but Nikki hit an X factor on the outside on the steps on Becky. It's not like she was innocent here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know.
Maybe it's just going to be AJ Lee. I don't know. Maybe she will come back. Who knows?
It's entirely possible. So we're backstage with Jay. He's getting looked at by medical. He's got some ice on his ribs. So Pierce walks in and says, are you good to go? And Jay says, I can. And then Pierce says, medical is going to say something else, I reckon. And Jay says, screw medical. The last thing Roman told me was to get that title, and that's what I'm going to do. They just took him to the hospital. You feel me? Yeet.
Yeet.
So they just tape up Jay's ribs, and he's in the main event.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before that, we got a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match with Rusev and Shamus. This match definitely picked up once they started utilizing the Tower of Barrels.
Well, it was like, there wasn't much Donnybrook stuff going on. And then once they did Donnybrook stuff, Boom! We had ourselves a banger of a match. Yeah,
We actually had ourselves a Donnybrook.
I was desperate. I was desperate for them to use the barrels, and then once they did, boy, oh boy, this match took off. It was a killer fucking match by the end of it.
So speaking of the barrels, they go up to where the barrels... Oh, sorry, we'll precede that. Where Shamus hits a bro kick. Rusev kicks out of that. Rusev hits a Machka kick. Shamus responds with the knee. And then Shamus looking for a brogue. Instead, Rusev hits another Machka. And then he breaks the shillelagh over Shamus's back. Covers. Kicks out at 2. Oh, sorry, I skipped the barrel stuff. So anyways, they're up on the barrels before all this. And Rusev's looking for the accolade. Shamus powers out. There's a couple tables, Slim Jim tables on the floor. Air raid crash off the barrels to the tables. Then not everything I just said. Then Rusev picks up the broken shillelagh, locks on an accolade with the shillelagh over Shamus's mouth, and then wrenches back like he used to do with Game Over in AEW. And Shamus taps.
He tapped out. Yeah,
Yeah,
give him the
doesn't
pass
happen
out.
very
Gave him the
often.
tap out. I like the tap out. I'll be honest, in my old age, I feel like the pass out doesn't even make any sense half the time. You know, if you're going to choke somebody, passing out makes sense. But like if it's like an ankle lock or something like that, or even like an accolade, passing out doesn't make any sense.
I know, they just do it because it's the heroic way to lose via submission.
Yeah, but it is
I
logical.
know, but it's so, yeah, and it's so kind of cliched now.
It really is. They've overused it. Yeah.
They have quite a bit. Next, if you like finishers, this match is for you.
This match was fucking wild. And I'm legitimately so curious. And I really hope John Cena opens up after all is said and done about the idea behind a lot of his matches. We saw him put on an absolute fucking banger of a match with Cody at SummerSlam after dropping a fat turd at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And this match here, you know, I didn't know what to expect, but I'm really curious if there was a specific idea behind it, because we saw, among other things, a Styles Clash from John Cena, an End of Days from John Cena, which got the crowd chanting Baron Corbin.
Yeah, we got Angel's Wings,
Yeah.
Christopher Daniels' finisher. We got Code Red, which, you know, Cena's done
Yeah, he's
at
done that
times before.
Yeah.
Several
like,
AAs. Yeah.
I was kind of wondering, like, oh man, are we going to get a Sister Abigail? Are we going to? Is this like a roadmap? And then I was kind of wondering. Okay, I'm wondering if, because I mentioned this during the stream, Logan Paul, who fits, you know, and I've said this, all credit to Logan Paul. He fits in like fits like a fucking glove in the WWE. But you look at his sort of at the moves that he does, and a lot of them, it's like, oh, this is cool, I'll use this. This is cool, I'll use this. You know, I forget, there was one of his finisher I had seen on social media is that he plucked that from, I forget who, but you know, he's really good at sort of picking and choosing. It's a very creative wrestler. Oh, what move am I going to choose here? And I wonder if there's some sort of story being told, in this match that, yeah, I can dig up a bunch of cool moves too. In fact, I'll use a bunch of finishers from prominent opponents of my past, like Baron Corbin, who, I mean, the cash-in situation thing. And then, of course, AJ Styles, who had some of his best matches with in WWE. I don't know, but I'd be fascinated to know, because I know Cena thinks about everything he does.
Yeah, he has a tendency to think about storytelling from, I don't really think this term's overused, but from like a meta standpoint, like, you know, hey, this is kind of, we're not going to tell the story of, oh, I'm working this body part, or we don't have this really a story with a lot of dimension heading into this. So let's think of a creative way to approach this, and it's entirely possible, you know, the idea that Logan Paul has created a creative wrestler moveset for himself, and thinks he belongs in WWE because of that. Well, see, you could say, all right, fine, I'll do it too, to show that's not what makes you a championship level wrestler.
Yeah. It wouldn't shock me if that's spot on.
Yeah,
you know,
could be.
You've created a moveset for yourself. I'm going to do that using opponents of my past, which is kind of an interesting take. The crowd loved every second of this. It was a long match. I thought it was fucking phenomenal. I thought it was great. I thought it had great heat, big moves, and I really really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, it was pretty darn enjoyable. Finish Styles Clash. Cena hits that, and it was really great how he connected with that. It's very AJ Styles-esque, rolling through with a counter. Logan kicks out. Cena's looking for the Avalanche AA. Logan fights him off. Hits a crossbody off the top, but Cena rolls through. Looking for an AA, but Logan lands on his feet. Logan looking for a KO punch, hits it, but Cena bounces off the ropes, hits another AA, and then collapses onto Logan to get the win.
Yeah. It was really good stuff. So they give him a huge, standing ovation. He heads over. Belgium Kid is there. He smiles, gives him a thumbs up, and then plants a big old smooch on his wife. Goes over, big old smooch on Post Malone's lips as well. Jackie's backstage. She's trying to get a word with Seth Rollins because his dudes are gone. And he looks pretty devastated, even though he's dressed to the nines in some bright blue and pink outfit. He says, listen, Jackie, I know where you're going with this, and I'm already 3 steps ahead. I am all alone, and you and everybody else thinks it puts me at a disadvantage. Remember WrestleMania? Who won that? I chose the Vision. I don't need the Vision. I don't need anyone. I'm the greatest in-ring performer in the history of this industry, and I'll go out there and remind everyone, well, I'm Seth frickin' Rollins. If I can't keep this by myself, I don't deserve to have it. And then we get all the entrances. Jey Uso wearing some comfy Yeet shorts and some rib tape.
Yeah, he had the rib tape that was covering exactly 0 ribs.
No actual ribs covered here.
It's more like kidney tape.
Yeah, belly tape.
Yeah. So, finish Saw. So Seth is looking for a Phoenix Splash, misses it, lands on his feet. Jay hits him with a super kick and a spear, falls with the Uso Splash. Punk, who earlier kind of skidded off the table, it was gimmick, so it cracked a little bit, comes back in, breaks up that pin with an elbow drop. Punk hits Jay with the GTS, falls on the pin. Seth breaks it up with a stomp, but Punk kicks out. So Seth starts talking shit. I hate you so much. I hate your family. I never want to wrestle you again. I don't want you to wrestle in this company ever again. Go away. So Seth goes out and grabs a chair. But first he goes and hits Jay with a stomp. Earlier, LA Knight had gone through the announce table when he's going for the top rope elbow. And I think it was on Jay. Misses. So he gets stomped out there as well. Seth gets in the ring. He puts the chair around Punk's neck, looking for a stomp onto the seat of the chair. Punk gets out of the way, hits a GTS. They do the thing where Seth rebounds off the ropes and slumps onto Punk's shoulder, so he's looking for another GTS. And that's when disguised Becky Lynch gets in the ring, low blows Punk. She unmasks. Seth hits Punk with a stomp onto the chair to get the win. Earlier, it was all this back and forth. Well, are the baby faces going to work together or not?
Yeah.
And seemingly random points, they just decide to turn on each other.
The very first thing that happened was CM Punk gave a receipt to Jey Uso, super kicked him out of the ring. And so it was the 3 of them. At one point, they seemed like they were looking to give a shield powerbomb to Seth through the table. But Jay, with Roman Reigns still in his head, I guess, decided to nix that idea and gave a super kick, I think, back to CM Punk. And LA Knight was kind of caught in the middle of it all. But yeah, they were kind of all over the map with like, are we going to work together? Are we not going to work? Eventually, they were just like, nobody's working together.
No.
But I thought the match was really, really awesome. Maybe a little on the long side.
Yeah, it was
long. But I thought it was a really, really, really good match. And I loved it. I know there were some people in our chat who were like, oh, I was expecting, because everybody kind of figured, oh, there's going to be a 4th man. You don't do this whole angle without introducing somebody new. And so I saw some names, Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, a returning Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, I guess, an injured Austin Theory coming back.
Yeah.
Tony D.
Yeah, because it seemed like he'd been written off NXT.
Yeah. But we got Becky Lynch. And I'll be honest with you, I think Becky's the best choice out of them all. I loved, after the fact, Becky was like, she was like air guitaring with the title, the Kyle O'Reilly thing, doing the big dangly over CM Punk.
Yeah.
Their chemistry is great, and them both as bad guys. I think Becky's doing amazing work as a bad guy these days, and I'd love to see her and those character dynamics within the Vision. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is the injection of energy that the Vision really needs right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Between her joining the group potentially, you really push Braun and Bronson as dangerous competitors to take seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree 1,000%. So hopefully they'll remain a thing. Wouldn't shock me if we get to Raw tomorrow and it's not. Becky's
like
just
a
doing
one-off,
her own
no.
thing. It's like, no, you have it right here. You have it. Let's see the backstage dynamics between the characters. I want to see that stuff. I think it could be wildly entertaining,
Yeah, it could.
And then you get that group in the situation where they're doing bad guy things, but they're over with the crowd because of the chemistry, and that's the sweet spot right there.
Exactly.
Hopefully they'll go in that direction. Regardless, tomorrow we've got our Raw review, so be sure to join us for that because it's going to be, I'm assuming it's probably an 11 a.m. Pacific
It's
start
11
time,
start.
right?
Yeah, Pacific, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on. Well,
So sometime in the afternoon, look for the recap to be up.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notify bell. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.